So on New Year's Eve, I was hosting an epic New Year's party, and one of my friends called me, and he said, "Hey, I need directions." And this is exactly what I told him. I said, "Take out your smartphone, go to Google Maps, type in this address, and do exactly what it says." And to my amazement, he didn't have a smartphone, and I literally wasn't able to give him directions to the party, even though it was in the city where I lived my entire life. I think we're all aware that we rely on technology, whether technology is the thing in your pocket or the ecosystem of information technologies on the web that you use to do research, or the medicines that we use to make ourselves better. But not very often do we actually think about where it's going, or what the implications are, or how we can control it. So I'm Ethan Berl. I'm a senior in the Coast Department, and I do a lot of thinking about technology. This talk is going to be about half my experiences in Silicon Valley, where I have a startup, and about half writers and thinkers, futurists, and technologists that are far smarter than I am. So what I wanted to look at was how can we control accelerating technology. So when I was in high school, I was a very creative person. I loved doing music, I loved doing drama, writing stories, but I also was a very mathematical person. I loved programming robots, I loved doing math contests, and for me, technology kind of was the marriage of the two. That creating technology was a way that I could express myself at the same time using my technical skills. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I actually started by programming on the TI-83. Maybe some of you have memories of these, maybe bad memories from math class in high school, but I got started programming on there where I would actually make games and sell them to my friends. I taught myself some web technologies, and I took a few classes at the beautiful University of Illinois in my hometown. But that wasn't really when I started thinking about technology. I started thinking about technology in high school when I discovered a set of ideas known as transhumanism. So I just want to read you two quotes that kind of sum up the transhumanist mindset. So, limited in his nature, infinite in his desire, man is a fallen god who remembers heaven. And then, of course, from Arthur C. Clarke, sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So transhumanism is a school of thought that says, using technology, we can actually make humans better. So, any of you that still have a sore arm from last week when you got the meningitis shot, you're transhumanists. You use the technology to make yourself a better human. Of course, the really far afield people believe that we can make humans better by building bionic limbs that are better than what our real limbs could do, by genetically enhancing ourselves, by creating better chemicals and medicines and drugs that let us think better, faster, harder, better, stronger, like Daft Punk likes to say. I don't know how far I am on that field, but the ideas of transhumanism really kind of affected me and got me thinking about what is the purpose of technology and how is it actually going to affect our lives. The other thing that affected me in high school was I read a book, The Singularities Near, by futurist Ray Kurzweil, who's currently working at Google, in which he points out with a lot of evidence throughout history that technology, not just information technology, but all types of technology, have been following exponential curves and continue to do so. And this is in part because technology is part of an ecosystem that builds into itself. Once we create a better computer, we use that computer to create the next line of better technologies. And so he has this idea that eventually, although he was the one that originated the idea, he very much popularized it. Eventually, we're going to have computers that are so advanced that they equal the human brain and possibly even go beyond. The algorithms and the computing power will exceed what humans can do, and no longer will humans be the ultimate intelligence in the universe. We will have created our next generation. So whether or not that's going to happen, when it's going to happen, all very much up in the air. But this was also an exciting idea for me at the time that technology is really going to change the world and possibly create the next intelligent species. And so the third fundamental experience that really got me thinking about technology was the first startup that I joined. So right after high school, I graduated when I was 16. My parents didn't want me to go off and party in college just yet. So I took a year off and I worked at a startup company. And more than the business things I learned, more than the technological skills I learned, this really made me think about technology in a new way. Whereas transhumanism says we can make humans better, from this startup, I started thinking about we can make better humans. We could help humans extend themselves that define their humanity. So what we were doing in this startup was, it was kind of a neuroscience startup. If you can see the little sensor that this guy is wearing. We had built a sensor that could pick up on neurological signals, and we could use those signals to help people who were locked in, whether they had ALS or cerebral palsy, or some other ailment where their mind was still there, but their body was failing them. They were no longer able to communicate. We could help them communicate again. And so that vision that we could be giving back with technology and making better humans, that was really exciting to me. And then the other thing that I learned from this startup was how to take more responsibility for the technologies that we created. So my friend Michael, you can see me and Michael working on this. This actually aired on the History Channel, where I would demo our technology. Besides being able to communicate, we were able to do control things with it. So I could sit in a mechanical wheelchair, look like Dr. Evil, and without moving or saying anything, drive it wherever I want. So obviously, there were military applications, and the military came and wanted to license this technology from us. And I really respected when Michael, regardless of your views on whether the military saves or ends lives, he said, I don't want any technology that I invented to go out and possibly kill someone in any way. And so he decided that we would turn down that potentially lucrative licensing agreement. Ultimately, we did license it to Disney because they like doing animatronic stuff. But anyway, what I really learned from that startup was that we can make better humans using technology, and you should take more responsibility for the technologies you created. So with the rest of my talk, I want to ask some questions. So where is technology going? It's kind of a big question. How can we control technology? And how can we make sure that technology is used for good to expand humanity rather than fundamentally change us in negative ways? I mean, there's a lot of dystopic novels and movies and things out there, everything from Frankenstein to the Terminator, that shows technology going horribly wrong. How can we make sure that that doesn't happen in reality? So, a couple of big ideas. This is Kevin Kelly, who's one of the co-founders of Wired, and he wrote an amazing book, What Technology Wants. He really thinks about technology as Kurzweil does, as an evolving process. That, you know, it seems like humans are the ones creating this technology, but he argues that humans are merely the medium through which technology is evolving. Just like biological evolution, societal evolution, there's a lot of parallels with technological evolution. Specialization, the exponential speed up. Another thing is that it seems like certain technologies are inevitable. They get invented at the same time when the pre-existing technologies are there. The light bulb had multiple patents in different countries, and it was only the guy who actually knew how to sell the thing that got the credit for creating it. Many inventions happen at the same time as the pre-existing technologies are there. So last year, I was lucky enough to win the Tiger Launch Award with an idea that at the time we thought was pretty innovative. Within half a year, independently, we found 3 other companies on different continents even had come up with the same idea. So it really doesn't matter. It's kind of depressing for technologists, but exciting for entrepreneurs. It almost doesn't matter who it is that's having the idea. If it's the right time for the thing, all that matters is how you sell it, how you get it out into the world. But anyway, if humans are the medium through which technology is evolving, you know, do we actually have any control over the direction that it evolves? This is a kind of important question. And so Kevin Kelly's answer is that the genus is actually predetermined, but the species is not. So what that means is, if you were to roll back history 1,000 years, change some things, kill off a few inventors of things, and roll it forward again, let the butterfly effect take control, we would still have an internet. We would still have a light bulb. But the way that those things would come about would be very different. You know, the genus is that we would have some device that we could create light at will. But the species would be the actual metals that we use for the filament, whether it's a green light bulb or not, you know, whether it's good for the environment or not, how much energy it takes. All of those things are the species of the light bulb. The species of the internet might be whether it's open and distributed or whether it's NSA controlled. So the species really does matter, and he argues that that's determined by the process and the environment that the technology evolves in. So if that's the case, how can we actually control technology? So this guy is Lawrence Lessig. He's another great thinker and writer in this space, and he has 4 main ways that we can control it. So there's economical, you know, what's cost effective. if it's going to cost billions and billions of dollars to get nuclear fusion, even if we knew how to do it, maybe that won't actually ever become a reality. Technological, so what is possible? Once BitTorrent was created, that changed the entire technological landscape, and the music industry is still kind of reeling from it. Normative, what's accepted? So there was an app a little bit ago called Girls Around Me, where it would take people's Facebook profiles and scrape it without their permission and tell you when there would be a girl near you. And society said, we are not ready for this. Probably a good thing. And Apple took it out of their store, and Android also shut it down. So that was society saying, this is not going to be accepted. We aren't ready for this technology yet. And then legal, what is allowed? And so these 4 different kind of pillars, pressure points, are ways that we can influence technology to move in the directions that we want as humans. Even though technology is evolving, almost as its own process, we still can nudge it in the right direction. And so what does that mean? That kind of implies that classes at Princeton, like Coast 109, intro Coast class, that many non-Coast majors take, that might be more important than my 400-level networks programming class in terms of determining how technology is actually going to play out in the future. You know, maybe Woodrow Wilson 351, which is Internet Technology Policy, maybe that's more important than my AI class, my 400-level AI class. Because it's not only the tech nerds, it's not only the people like me that like sitting behind terminals and programming things, it's everyone who plans to live in the future, which I hope is all of you guys. Anyway, so that's kind of how we can control technology, and where we apply these pressure points, well, at the centers of innovation. So the government, of course, the internet kind of came out of the government, a lot of military devices later seed technologies that they were intended to. Of course, many things came out of NASA. Academia, very much closer to science, and again, it seems for the longer term. And then there's free market companies, which drives a lot of the consumer tech. They're kind of the appliers of research. They're the ones that are bringing it to people every day. And so these free market companies actually have the greatest effect on how people, you and I, actually are going to live our lives with technology. You know, I was kind of thinking about this the other day, and I realized the Large Hadron Collider, you know, it seems like this very fundamental piece of technology, discovering the Higgs boson. But at the same time, more people were actually affected by Snapchat and how they interact every day. And so even though it seems like this very high-level technology, this very ephemeral technology that sits on top of many layers, on top of an iPhone, on top of the internet, and so on, maybe Snapchat is the most fundamental technology of all. I don't know. It depends on how it actually affects people's lives. And so that brings me to another point, that humans are emotional. And if we're building these technologies and humans are the medium through which technology is evolving, we have to understand that. So each of these apps, whether it's Snapchat, Tinder, Flappy Bird, or Facebook, you know, they're actually all selling you an emotional story. It's not about the information that's coming through your phone. It's actually about the emotions it makes you feel. So Snapchat is a way of syncing your emotion with somebody across the globe. Hey, look at this funny swirl that I'm looking at. And now you and another person are in the same moment, even though you're apart from each other. Tinder is selling you the lie that you don't have to face rejection. You know, you don't have to face rejection. Maybe that's bad. Maybe you should face rejection and get stronger because of it. Flappy Bird tells you never have to be bored, and Facebook tells you never have to be alone. But there's been many studies that show the more you use Facebook, the lonelier you feel. So I would say that something like Snapchat, sure, that is, maybe that's making humans better. It's giving you a new ability, a new way to connect with people across the globe and be there with them. But maybe apps like Tinder and even Facebook are actually making people worse. They're making them kind of hide from their emotions. They're making them not talk to each other, not connect in real life. And so that brings me to my current startup. So I wanted to take all the things that I had learned from technology and all the skills I'd acquired actually working at Princeton, and I wanted to make sure that whatever I do with my life is making technologies that are making better humans, that are allowing humans to express themselves creatively, that are allowing humans to connect and kind of bring out the best side of their humanity. And so the current startup that I'm working on in Silicon Valley, basically what we do is we have an app, you tell us the things you like, and then we will tell you all the things in your near environment that you really ought to know about. So one of those is people that you're about to walk by. It'll actually buzz in your pocket and say, hey, it'd be a real shame if you walk by that guy, because you two would be best friends. Both of you just finished watching The Walking Dead, and both of you love neuroscience, so you should really go up and start a friendship. There might be something there. It'll tell you about events that you're about to walk past. It'll tell me, like, your favorite jazz artist is coming to McCarter Theater. You would have missed it without that. So that's what we're working on. It's kind of all the Silicon Valley's buzzwords, social, local, mobile. We're on the forefront of the Internet of Things, so all that's been good for funding. It's given me some really amazing opportunities to work with people like Justin Timberlake and Adam Levine. But what I'm most excited about is the potential that through this, I think we can make better humans. We can use the internet to pull you back into the real world and connect in real life. So that's what I work on. And if you take any conclusions away, it would be these. We can shape how technology evolves, and the technologies we have and use shape us. Technology does not belong just to computer nerds, but rather to everyone who plans to live the future, and that we should try to be better humans and consciously make technologies that make humans better. Thank you.
I already filled out 2